listen to any podcast. You're listening to NE Podcast. What? It's me, NDIRT. I'm about to host this podcast geek thing. Sit down, relax if you want. Nah, this ain't no show for your kids or your mom. Parental advisory should be taken. It can get explicit once this podcast is taping.
Hey, what's up, y'all? NE Podcast, Necessary Evil Podcast. I was trying to fool y'all, and who I got as my co-host, and it is Dirt.
What's up?
Exactly, Doug Turner. He's over at the Pulp Culture Network with, I think, Killen?
Yeah.
And Swaney.
Uh-huh.
Who else is over at the Pop Culture?
There's the Alternative Minds crew out in New York.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to him last
Rob
night.
Bass and Juan Pineda and all those guys are hanging out over there. And then we've got Nick, the toy columnist, who's just joined us recently, and so he's starting to get his feet wet. We got Ryan Porter. He's doing his comic book stuff. So, we've got people all over the country, kind of joining in on the Pop Culture Network.
Yeah, and on YouTube, he's ex-Rob Bass, or ex-Rob something. I can't remember exactly. Great guy. You guys got a lot of good shit going on over there. I've actually been a fan of you guys right from the get-go.
That's a lie, but I'll take it.
No, it's not a lie, and you know that. And I thought it'd be funny. I guess, drug Doug along here. I asked him if he wanted to be on a podcast. He kind of gave me the, I guess let's do it. And I asked him, what's the name? I was trying to come up with, the Dirt Con. And the only reason why I did that was because I know, last year, he was trying to freaking Twitter bomb the Dirt Con. And he set me straight, though. So we settled on Necessary Evil. I'm assuming because, I'm an evil motherfucker. He's an evil motherfucker. And I came up with NE Podcast. I think that's whatever.
Well, and also, when you say any podcast for Necessary Evil, the NE, it's also just sounding like any podcast. Whatever we're going to talk about, it's just any podcast.
And I like a play on words, man. I love playing on words. And I honestly the day after I asked Doug if he would be my co-host, and he didn't really get back to me. He just gave me the old yeah. And well,
it's because I didn't want to get stuck editing it. Because
exactly.
If I tell people I'm going to do it, they're like, oh, okay, then you can record it and edit it and make some music and put it together and upload it and blah blah blah. And this is your show.
Just so everybody knows, though, I was being pushy about it because I don't give a. I was just being pushy about it, and I know that. And the next day, Dave Vonner. I've spoke with Dave many times. He's let me in on a lot of secrets that nobody knows about, and I've never told anybody about. And I figured, well, all right, I'm going to do a podcast. Why not get somebody that actually knows a goddamn sense or two, unlike us? And I asked Dave, and he got back to me yesterday or Saturday morning. What was it? Dave got back to me Friday, and it was right after the whole Jazzwares incident. And
breaking news.
Right. I would like to think he was postponing telling me he wanted to join my podcast till after, the media knew he joined Jazzwares, right. Which that's why we got him on here. Everybody out there is excited for Dave Vonner to be on Jazzwares. I mean, I'm not a Mortal Kombat fan, but there's not one time that I went through Toys R Us and I did not stop.
Well, then I mean, if he's the guy everyone wants to hear from, and that's the conversation that everyone cares about, then why are you and I still standing here jabber-jocking with each other? Just get onto the thing. Just do it.
Let's get on with it, man. This ain't any podcast. This is NE Podcast. Dave?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, just chilling, dude. How was True Blood?
It was pretty good.
Nice. I never seen that, man. I don't get HBO. I'll just start it off right now, man. I'm Corticon, Sean. Got Doug. He's known as Dirt from the Pop Culture Network.
Yep.
And you are none other than Dave Vonner.
Yes, I am.
We hope so, at least.
Apparently, there's another one out there, but I'm the real one.
Man, I tell you what, dude, you are causing a stir, man. I'm looking around trying to dig up some information on you, and everybody's talking about you at Jazzwares. But
I guess it's good to be, you know, talked about than I guess talked down on. So,
it
but
seems
it's
like
cool.
it's all positive, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I mean, I thank everybody for their support, man. And you know, it's unusual, you know, but I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
we all, you know, love this, you know, action figures and pop culture and everything, and you know, this whole comic book world and everything, and you know, it's not every day that a lot of guys get to meet, you know, someone who is directly in the field. You know, is like, I don't know who made my car, you know, I don't know who designed it,
Right.
you know, but when you get to meet the guy that, you know, designed or help design like an action figure that you like, or you know, that you enjoy hunting or purchasing or whatever, and you
Right.
know, you somehow get to interact with that guy, it's pretty cool. So I mean, I get it, you know, and
Yeah.
I thank everybody for all the support. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, it also, like, people, when they think about companies that produce items that they buy, they always think of suits in a boardroom, you know, a bunch of guys trying to maximize the bottom line. It's
Right.
difficult sometimes to remember that, I mean, these are human beings, and the people working on it are often just as excited and just as geeky and nerdy about it as you are. You know, it's not
Right.
a bunch of guys in Maseratis, you know, sipping cocktails on a yacht trying to make a couple extra $1 million by cutting knee articulation. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, especially at, you know, a big you know, corporation like Hasbro, you know, like, I think that the image of Hasbro, because whenever someone speaks of, you know, like the action figures that they either like or don't like, they always say Hasbro, you know what I mean? And I think that their vision of is like this big, you know, fat guy, you know, with a bag of money, smoking a cigar, banging on the desk, laughing because he's just like, you know, not giving anybody what they want. But, you know, the truth of the matter is that, you know, there's a lot of guys like you and I, you know, that you know, that no action figure starts off bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
It never starts off that way, and there's like a ton of factors that come into play that, you know, that take away from what you originally intended, and it hurts. I mean, you fight every day, you know, so and it goes through so many different changes, and it has to be right, because at the end of the day, it is a business, and that business is there to make money. So, you know, certain things have to be just accounted for and looked at, and but like at Hasbro, I mean, like, there's a ton of guys there that are just like us, you know, and they're passionate about what they do, and particularly on the Marvel team, man. I mean, like, from the painters, the engineers, the marketers. I mean, like, it wasn't just me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
Right.
lot of guys that just wanted to do something cool, and at that small amount of time, we all had that vision. You know what I mean? Like, it took guys like myself to kind of encourage that and propel that. But, you know, I mean, once everyone buys into that idea, then everyone is like full on board. You know what I mean? And you know, we had a real good crew.
Dwight.
And, huh?
Dwight's on Legends, right? Dwight Saul.
Yep. Dwight's on Legends, and you know, he gets a
Bad
you know,
rap maybe
unfair,
sometimes.
a bad rap, because you know,
He took over everybody's baby, you know.
right. I mean, he took over everybody's baby, but you know, there was a lot of things that came into play that no one will probably ever know. You know, I
Right.
mean, there was
Exactly.
a lot of factors that went into it, and but also, you know, Dwight had a particular vision that he wanted, and you know, not everyone's vision will gel with yours. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, I
And
mean, I like to look at step back and look at all these lines and you know, these companies, and I like to sum everything up like in one word. And when I think of Hasbro, I I think of them as their. Man, I had this. I think of them as their. They're just right on. Sorry, I had it in my head, but they're just like right on cue. It's like they have a game plan and they're very strategic. That's what I was trying to say. It seems
Right.
like they're very well planned, whereas other companies that kind of trip over themselves. It seems like Hasbro has a vision and they stick to it and they apply it to other lines. They don't
Right.
just use it for one line.
Well, I mean, Hasbro is a marketing-driven company. I
Right.
mean, that's first and foremost. So, they um will approach it from that angle. And you know, that could be good to a degree. I mean, as far
Right.
as what you're talking about, and like everything is so
I'm happy with it, honestly. It's good.
strategic because
Yeah.
I mean, some like with me, like how I did Universe, it was just strategic, but it was also a little off the cuff, and
Right.
that's how I wanted. I wanted it to be that kind of like the crackerjack surprise. You know what I mean? Like you just never knew exactly what it was you
And you
were
still
getting.
don't. Still going.
Yeah, and I love that because to me, I love Christmas. I'm the only child, and I had every toy under the sun, and I never could sleep during Christmas, like Christmas Eve and everything. And I just love being able to like, wake up, look on the tree, and I see that, and like, oh man, I see that, and oh man, I see that, and then like, my mom got me. She would do this every Christmas. My mom would say, we didn't do too well this year, and it was a lot of bills, so you can get five things. And every year I fell for it. So every year I fell for the whole five things thing, and I'm trying to figure out what toys I wanted, what five toys I got, and then I had literally so many toys that my mom couldn't wrap them all, and all of it was like a ritual. Like all my cousins came to my house Christmas, and they stayed there, and played with all my stuff. But I fell for it every year, and it was always that surprise, man. And
Hmm.
and or like when you read a comic and there's that twist in there, like that last page and that cliffhanger is like, man. And that's what I wanted Universe to be. I always wanted to be a surprise, like with the variants and just who is coming down the line and what what version of the character was being done. And I wanted to have that fun element to it and not have it be so buttoned up and strategic.
Right, like
Right. I mean,
I remember one point being in Walmart, Toys R Us, whatever, and flipping through them, and I realized that there was a different Spider-Man, and
Right.
it took me off guard. Like I looked at it for a minute, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I've got the Spider-Man. This looks like I think this one's different. Like it took me
Right.
several minutes of staring at it to be like, I think this is a different one. Like there's a
Right.
and there ended up being 6 or 8 different Spider-Men that came out. It was just kind of one of those things where I would look at something and go, wait a minute, they changed the costume a little bit. This is the
Right.
costume from 1982, not the one from
Right.
1989.
Well, because it's like with the as far as well, one reason of that is because there. I mean, we knew that we were going to have so many Iron Mans and so many Spider Mans and everything because there's a tiering system of what characters are going to
hmm
sell, you know,
Right.
hmm
and
You mean Paste Pot Pete is not at the top of the list?
no, but even though I was fighting for a Pace Pop Pete, but so I knew we would ship so many, and the thing was, how can we make it different? Like, how can we make this, a little bit different, a little bit off the cuff, and also with the variants, it creates a buzz, and
hmm
it kind of makes things not so stale, but also the whole, no matter what it is, if you're a lover of comic books or movies or toys or I mean action figures or whatever it is, you have to have it first and you want to talk about it. So the whole thing was to throw these variants on it and have guys like us pick them up and like, oh man, there's a new Spider-Man out there. Or there's a red and blue Thunderbird out there. You know what I mean? A
Right.
Warpath. Something that is just like so, just that little change, but like you say, you stare at it for a while and like something is different about it.
Right.
And you realize what it is and you just have to have it.
When I say
Uh,
strategic, I'm talking about the way that Hasbro seems to introduce new molds and bucks. It seems like they're very good at saving money to add that one figure in the line that's completely new. And
Right.
I guess that's what I meant by strategic.
Right.
Well, I was just going to say, and along with all the variants and stuff, I've noticed that, when you're dealing with people like us, people love characters, but
Right.
they tend to love a particular era of a character, a particular look of a character. And
Right.
so when something like Spider-Man comes out, Spider-Man hits the line, everyone's like, "Ooh, Spider-Man," and there's always going to be the one guy that goes, "Oh, I wish it was the black suit."
Yeah.
And then
Always.
2 months later, there's a black suit Spider-Man.
Right.
Because there's always going to be a fan of whatever variant look or whatever different
Right.
era or whatever different artist interpretation. Or like, oh, I
Exactly.
like Spider-Man, but I wish he had the big eyes. And then like
Well,
the
see,
big eyes
that's
make fun of him.
that's the thing about Marvel, like particularly with Spider-Man. I mean, you have Steve Ditko, John Romita Jr., Sal Buscema, Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson. You have all these artists, John Byrne, that worked on Spider-Man. And even though the character is the same, there's so many different variations of him.
Right.
And like I love classic comic books, and me in particular, I will always do a classic character or a classic version of that character before I would do like a modern one. I mean, that's just something that, to me, that's that's the era of Marvel that I love, and I like new guys, but the classic guys are, just this. It takes me back in time, so that you'll get like a John Romita Senior Spider-Man of like a particular blue, then you'll get a darker blue, then you'll get one with the different eyes, then you'll get like in the Marvel the Team Pack one, it had the leg swivel and everything, but it was a different blue. There's
Right.
like tons of different ones, and he looked, based on whoever drew him. I mean, he looked different. I mean, there was always certain things about him that stayed consistent. Like his how lean he was, or his height and the weight of him and everything. But beyond that, it was.
Yeah, well, some would do like the spider logo small, some would do it big.
Yeah.
Someone would do the webbing on his arms in white, and someone would do it in black. It just kind of
Right.
depended on what the artist wanted. And it's one of those things where when you think of Spider-Man, you see an artist draw him, you go, "Oh, that's Spider-Man." You don't think, "Oh, that's Spider-Man," but they drew him wrong because the webbing is the wrong shade of blue.
Right.
You don't
Right.
worry about that. So when you see the figures, you walk in the store for a little kid, he just sees Spider-Man. He's like, "Oh,
Right.
look, Spider-Man, Mom, I want a Spider-Man."
Right,
But
but
then
you
for
and I,
us,
we
yeah,
see
like
some-
I'm the nerd, like going through the peg now. Like, where's the one from Age of Apocalypse? Like, where's the spider's a little bit bigger on that one. Let me find that one.
Right.
Well, I wanna just flip this up real fast. Casual Friday, Scott George. How what's going on there? How those guys doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah.
We well, I was about to say we, but yeah, well, I'm still going to say we. So
Yeah, Scott.
yeah, we got some things getting prepared for New York Comic Con, and it's still going good. It's still, we're still, he's still my brother. I still love him. There was no bad thing that happened. It's just that, I just had to. Jazzwares just came.
Oh
out,
yeah, man.
and they have very, very cool brands, very, very cool properties and everything, and I had to look at the aspect of what I wanted to work on, and what was better for my family, and everything else. So I wish, and I was actually talking to him. I said, "Scott, you need to come down to Florida with me."
Right.
But it's still a baby, and I'll look at it from above. I mean, I kind of, I'll still kind of peek in and peek out and everything like that. But
On the Casual Friday.
yeah, but just working on the two, like it's extremely difficult to launch a toy line, let alone work on two at, I mean, literally two different companies at one time. And I mean, when you're hands on, when
Right.
you're hands on and you're doing the day to day, everything it gets pretty difficult. So that was the reason why I had to kind of step back from Casual Friday, because it just would have been way too much to handle the two. And I like doing things as right as they possibly can be. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
No,
make
I
it
hear
as
you.
perfect as it can be. I mean, there's nothing really perfect. So And like Jazzwares, man. I mean, they have been like they're right there. Like they have a lot of cool things, and a lot of people have taken notice to what it is they're doing, and so it's an honor to kind of go down there and do some special things down there with them. So it's
So are
pretty
you
cool.
allowed to say anything yet about Jazzwares, or is it just like, hey, that's where I'm going. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, like a title.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything is still being hammered out and worked out, and
Gotcha.
you know, I
CEO.
wanna I don't want to speak on it, and it's crazy because like coming from Hasbro, I mean, like just speaking to the media and everything, and it has to be very orchestrated, and it goes through PR and everything. So I'm still kind of used to that. I don't want to say too much and say some things that I'm not supposed to say.
Great.
So
Well, I'm gonna say something though, just as a fan. I think personally, the reason why people are so excited about you going to Jazzwares has got to be one of the reasons that I'm also excited for it too. Because, I mean, I know they do the adventure toy line that you can find at Target and everything, but
right,
the Mortal Kombat's and everything are at Toys R Us, at least as far as I know. And I'm not big. I like Mortal Kombat, but I've never been a big enough fan to like want to collect them all.
right,
But they've always caught my eye in the Toys R Us. I mean, the 6-inch ones. I mean, I'm a 6-inch guy, and like the Rayon and the Scorpion and all those crazy things that they were doing, they always caught my eye. But to me, it always felt like it needed just something else. And I guess that's why I'm excited. I'm hoping that something else is happening, you know. And I guess just from a fan, from my standpoint, that's kind of why I'm excited about you heading to Jazzwares, just to see what can happen on that end.
right. Well, I mean, thank you, man, and it's I just want to do like give everyone what they want. Everyone wants to
Hmm.
have a cool product and so is I was talking to a friend of mine and he's like this whole thing is like it's like a sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I got drafted by or I traded to the Dolphins or something like that. And
Good and bad. It's just like a sport, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, is there, speaking generally, like I'm not asking you to call out anybody or yell out names or anything like that, but just kind of generally speaking, when you're at a place like Hasbro, are people trash talking Mattel?
Well, you know what? Yes. I,
Well,
there is that, and I think it comes from a
but
lot of places. Like you got sales guys that want to do they want to sell the most product,
Right.
and they want to beat on their chest and or sometimes you just have certain people on your team like, oh man, there's no competition there. We're going to destroy them or whatever.
Right.
But for me, um, I like competition. I love it. And for
well, that's
instance,
exactly what this podcast right here. This necessary evil. That's kind of like if I was to be Hasbro and they thought what another company was evil, another company thought Hasbro was evil. Well, that right there, that just speaks to me as competition. I mean, as that's kind of what this podcast is all about. Is
right,
we're just the other side, you
It's like
know?
a good
right,
wrestling
right,
show where you get the two guys yelling at each other, going to beat up their girlfriend, and like
yeah,
all that good stuff that goes into a
Yeah,
good
it's
battle.
motivation.
right.
Motivation.
So I think the guys who are actually doing the hands-on work stuff, like designers and painters and packaging guys, we all admire each other's stuff because just going out on the shelves and seeing what's out there and getting inspiration, you're going to naturally buy other guys' stuff. You know,
Mhm.
you're
Right.
you're not just going to if you just look at your own stuff and buy your own stuff and stay in your own bubble, there's no one out there to tell you that you're wrong. You're not going to believe it. So you have to kind of go out of your range and pick up
Yeah.
other guys' things. And I know guys that work on other things at other companies, and I'm a fan of not only the stuff that they're doing, but also just the properties. And like I'm a big NECA fan. NECA
Exactly,
just
dude. Man, me too, man. I
they
like them.
they do the best stuff, and I mean, I love it, but I also know, like, Randy Falkhoff, he's a really good guy, but uh, aside from the personal, NECA just does really cool stuff, and I love it. I enjoy buying it,
And I'm gonna tell you, that's when I'm at Toys R Us, and unfortunately the Mortal Kombat is, and I was telling Doug this, the Mortal Kombat seems to be by the NECA, and when I'm in the mode to just pick up a figure, because I'm like a hardcore Legends fan. I'll collect everything that comes out, and but every now and then I'll pick up something that I just like, and usually NECA wins the case.
Right.
Their new Predators that they got, all that stuff. I really just dig the artistic value behind it. I don't know who's sculpting. I haven't even investigated that, but whoever's doing that, they're doing a very great job.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's also like there's other stuff out there, and it's almost. And then some things I get frustrated. Like I completely understand why Masters of the Universe fans are frustrated, and
because they're all 7 inches tall.
Yeah, well, for me, like I loved He-Man when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I guess when you start having kids, like my son is 7 years old, and
so is mine actually.
Oh, so I mean, he's right in the thick of it,
right?
Right in the thick of it, and I'm really sad that my son doesn't know who He-Man is, and maybe it's my fault, but like when I was a kid, there was cartoons and product on shelves and pajamas and everything, and now it's this really like isolated thing, whereas it's only for collectors to be able to order. But most of the stuff that he discovers is walking into the toy aisle, like how we did when we were kids,
right?
Or seeing it on TV.
Well, and speaking about that, oh, sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
Now, speaking about that, though, with your son, Fort Lauderdale, I know I made an off comment today, but I gotta say, dude, that video on Facebook with him and the freaking zombie apocalypse backpack. Oh man, dude, me and my family, my wife and my daughter, we watched that. That was hilarious, man.
I when I was a kid, it was only me and my mom, so. I don't know. Well, she loved horror movies, but I guess her thinking was like, and this was back when I was a latchkey kid, So
me too.
And I would come home from first grade, second grade, let myself in, stay in the house, whatever.
Right.
And because she had to work, but I think part of the method of her madness for me not to be afraid when I was home by myself was for we would watch horror movies together. And not just like Scooby-Doo or anything like that. I mean, I'm talking about
straight up.
Straight. It was
Hellraiser,
like the Omen and
Exorcist.
Just all kinds of crazy stuff back in the 70s. But that's because that's what we enjoyed. Right. It's funny. Like to this very day, Amityville Horror still scares me, and I don't know why. But with the zombie thing. My son loves them. Like he watched Walking Dead. He knows all the characters. He loved the Walking Dead figures.
Oh yeah.
And he just loves zombies. I draw them for him. He draws zombies. So when that whole thing came out in Miami, he actually had this was his second zombie killing bag, but when this whole thing came out, that's when he was like, I'm really making a zombie killing bag.
Oh man, he was like he believed it. He does believe it.
Like this, and that was not staged. Like I'm telling you, it was straight up real, and he's prepared. And it's funny, like he rides his bike, he keeps himself in shape because in case anything ever goes down, he's prepared.
He's like, man, don't come talking to me when zombies come get me or whatever he said. That was so classic, dude.
He was, and but it's funny, man, because nowadays kids are so limited in what they can do and what they can watch, and it's like almost the fun is being sucked out of being a kid.
And that's what it is.
I was talking to my wife the other day. When I was a kid, and there'd be some new cartoon. The cartoon was a commercial for a new toy line, and there'd be a cereal. and there would be the T-shirts, and there would be the
Everything.
backpack, and there'd be the bed sheets. And nowadays,
They
they crack down on that. They don't allow that anymore. They say, well, you got to keep the TV properties different from the toy properties. It can't just be one big commercial.
Right.
And I think that's really kind of missing out on part of the fun of being a kid, was immersing yourself in it and just living in that world.
Right. Yep.
I think you got some audio issues.
Oh, really? Because
on Doug's end, it's echoing.
Oh.
I'm echoing.
It could be me.
Am I echoing?
No, I turned my mic down. It was me.
Oh, so you're blaming us for your audio issues?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
But to your point too, it's like kids have way more things going on now than before, and like they with video games and iPhones and iPads but I mean, like kids can't even, like, when we were kids we made up games, and now some of the things that we either played with or made up is like you can't do it because the kid might get hurt, like dodgeball without a ball and stuff like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. And kids are like, especially little boys, they like two little, like tiger cubs. They roll around, they get aggressive, they get hurt, they get up and they do it again, and that's part of being a kid. Even little girls, it's the same thing. And now it's like all the fun is being sucked out. And I hate that. And I hate even more that, there's a lot of, this is kind of being perpetuated by people who don't even have kids. They're doctors but don't even have kids, so.
I got a daughter, and she's totally into creepy horror stuff, and I have to explain to her that not everybody is on the same level she's in. Mm-hmm. And like she'll be at Target, and there'll be somebody just standing there, and she'll be talking about the Gremlins are just something creepy. And mind you, she's 5 years old. And
I'm hearing that echo too. Now I'm hearing it.
Yeah, I can hear it too, pretty good.
Echo.
Is it on you?
Where's it coming from?
Let me turn on my volume now.
Hello.
See, this is the award-winning audio that people are tuning in for. They hear guys messing around with speakers and microphones, trying to figure out where the echo's coming from. That's what gets viewers. That's what gets listeners.
Well, it's not mine because I unplugged mine. Okay, there?
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, my bad. No, like what I was saying, my daughter, she's totally into creepy horror stuff. Probably because of me. And I feel like not other parents are on that same level. They want to just like put them in a bubble wrap and make sure they don't see anything scary or what have you. So I'm all.
And there are times even where I'll be sitting with my son, and we're watching Cartoon Network or something, and episode of Scooby-Doo comes on, and there's some sort of monster on there that for whatever reason scares him. It's like the 1 out of 100 that just happens to be the one that freaks him out. Right. And part of me is just like, oh, come on, it's a cartoon, get over it. But then there's another part of me that's just kind of like, he's only going to be a kid once. He's only going to be scared of things for so long. He's only going to turn to me to be like the brave guy who's got to protect him for so long. So it's like there are times that I'm just kind of like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Right.
Settle down. I got to be that dad and savor those moments sometimes. But there are times that look at him and be like, it's Scooby-Doo.
I just want to get this out. I want to get this out right now, and I want to say happy birthday. I know it's coming up in a couple days. I believe, right? September?
Who, me?
Is it August or September?
Mine is September. September 17th.
So you're in a month. Okay, never mind. Early birthday in a month.
Well, hey, thank you. I'll be 40 years old, so which I cannot believe. Because every day I look in the mirror and I do not see a 40-year-old man. But it's weird. Is when I was a kid, 40-year-olds look much older. Mm-hmm. Like I was talking, one of my actually a few of my friends that I went to high school with or grew up with are actually grandparents now, which even boggles my mind even more. But I'm like, wow, when we were kids, weren't grandparents much older?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I'm sure you've enjoyed your time around. mean, you went to school at Philadelphia, right? Not Philadelphia.
I went to art school there, the Art Institute of Philadelphia.
Now, with that being said, with the Joe Kubert, is that how you pronounce his name? Or
Yep.
You grew up, or you were born in New Jersey, right?
I was born in New Jersey. Yep.
How long you lived there?
I lived there all the way up until I was, well, when I started working at Toy Biz, that's when I moved to New York. But I lived there all my life.
Was that something you knew of and appreciated and all that?
What?
The school that he founded in New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, because I wanted to be a comic book illustrator, and I mean that's what I wanted to do after high school. I wanted to go to Joe Kubert's School of Art.
Same here. Yep, I took a tour of the school and everything. I loved it out there.
And I mean, I wanted to go. I mean, I was going to go, and my mom, who did nothing but help foster, my art and education, everything. I mean, she never held me back or from anything, but the only thing she said was, the one problem with you going to that school is that you're kind of like pigeonholing yourself, and you need something to fall back on. So she was like, I know you love comics and I know you love your art, but if you go to school and get your degree in advertising, you can always have something to fall back on. So after a lot of he and han and going back and forth, I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia and I majored in advertising graphic design because it was something that at the time advertising was the thing to do. It was still relatively big. And we didn't even have a toy design course back when I went, but I wanted to specialize in illustration. So
I've seen a lot of your CGI or your rendered. I honestly don't even know what to technically call them. I mean, do you draw them out, or I mean, because I've seen them. For instance, let's say like your Archangel. Or not, I guess I can't say you're Archangel, but is that something that you drew?
I would draw them, like for an action figure, I would draw them, do like the 3 views, the front, the back, the side, or whatever parts, accessories, exploded views and everything. And then I would hand that over to my sculptor and a really talented crew. But they have a really talented crew that gets it, and that's what you want in anything.
Yeah.
Like you can be very good, but if you're a fan or you just love what you're doing, then that's when it transcends into art. It goes from the technical to the art side, and then it becomes something totally more. Like it just transcends to something even better.
And then just one quick question though. I mean, like with this departure of Hasbro and this rebirth of Jazzwares. You feel like you pick something up, you learn something new that you would not have done if if this had never happened,
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from working at Hasbro and working with the small team and the small budget that I had. And
I'm talking. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I mean, from you just doing your own thing with Casual Friday, and I'm saying. From the time that you weren't really employed by any corporation, did you feel like you learned something that you would not have been able to?
Yeah, I mean that's what life is all about, right? You learn
exactly
from different experiences and everything, and I know I wouldn't change anything that I've done, from going from Hasbro to starting Casual Friday to the Jazz Wars thing, I mean, I wouldn't change anything. But it's like you live and learn. You always pick up something new and you hold on to it. And some things as far as me, I learned some things that you just can't. You gotta either do things on your own or really rely on your team around you. I still have a lot of friends at Hasbro and everything. And it was a shock to the people at Hasbro, that when everything went down, and I actually think that it shocked them more than it shocked me. I kind of felt bad for the people that were there. I think they learned a lot. They definitely learned a lot from some of the things that I've done, but You know, but there's no hard feelings
Right.
you know, from being there. You know, it's a good group of guys there, and you know, hey, there's some people that I made friends for life, you know, and that goes beyond just working at Hasbro, you
Right. I
know.
mean, there's always I got a couple. I'm a sayings guy, and I definitely live by every door closing is a new door opening,
Hmm.
and I mean you always just got to push forward,
Right.
and that's and you know that's one reason that
Yeah.
I've always respected you and everything. I
Right.
mean, there's
Yeah.
no
Thank you for that. Because you
yeah,
know it's
man.
funny. I never felt like I was unemployed. You know,
Right. Exactly.
it was like I went from kind of being, going from one situation to really getting like this crazy amount of freedom. I mean, it was. I'm telling you. I mean, without really going into deep detail about
No,
it,
go
but
into detail, please. Go into detail.
when that day happened, when the layoffs happened and everything, I mean, people were just shocked. It's really one of those counterproductive days that any company can have because everyone is whispering and worried if they're going to be next, and nothing ever gets done. Nothing ever gets done. You know, it's almost I feel bad for people who have to initiate it than they actually have to go through it because they have to tell rows and rows and rows of people or this lazy Susan of people coming in their office. They got to tell them that they let go. You know, and I'm like, and when the person told me, I was like, man, it kind of sucks to be you right now because I'm about to go have a margarita. And that's exactly what I did. So, but I felt like this huge relief because there was so many things that I wanted to do and my marketing partner had already left. So it was like now we can really do what we always talked about doing. So um everyone was just like in shock and there were people crying and everything. And I'm like, hey, if you get laid off, and I completely I get it. You know, I understand that when people get laid off, it's a shock. They don't know what they to do. But I think the biggest thing that I learned was that your job is not your source. It's a resource, and that's a big difference between it being a source
Exactly.
of who and what you are or where you get your strength from, as opposed to being a resource.
Right.
You know,
I
and
just
there's a lot of people that, and beyond just Hasbro, but everywhere, their identity becomes a part of like where they work. And Hasbro was never my identity. You know what I mean? Like I felt kind of identified Hasbro as opposed to Hasbro identifying me. You know, with the things that I worked on, I kind of defined that as opposed to Hasbro defining me. And I think that's what I always, you know, why I never really felt bad about it. You know, I
well,
felt like it was, hey, this is just one step along the way.
yeah,
And
I always saw either Dave Vonner and I saw Hasbro.
right.
Same with even Dwight. I'm not gonna, I see what's going on, and just to break the ice and let everybody know. I don't even think Doug knows this. I myself, I've been an electrician. I've been an electrician for about 11 or 12 years. I got laid off like 3 weeks ago.
Hmm.
Huh.
So, and
No,
I
I did
feel
not know that.
no, you did not. Nobody knows that. But I had an ultimatum, and I took the route I wanted to take. And you know what? That's what it's about. It's about. Another one of my sayings is, you know what? You're not going to do anything if you don't do it. So you got to
Right.
do it.
Well, and I've been lucky because the path I've taken has been a little bit different. I worked in an office. I went to art school. Like I wanted to be a comic book artist. I went to learn fine arts, and halfway through learning fine arts, I realized that I was more of a design guy. I was more of a typeset guy. Like
Right.
I love laying out a page, doing that kind of stuff. I ended up working for the state of Illinois, designing forms, basically in the print shop. Is what I ended
Right.
up doing, and it came to a point where when my wife and I, we had a house, we were settling down, we were going to have children, and it was just like her job was too good to let go. So I said, I'll quit my job and I'll stay home. And I became a stay-at-home dad.
Hmm.
And there was kind of that feeling that last day I walk out of the office and I'm downtown and I'm getting on the bus and I'm heading home, and it's kind of hitting you like this part is done.
Right.
And now I get to move on. And there were all these things I wanted to do.
Right.
These websites kicking around, these ideas of reviewing comic books and all this kind of stuff that I never had time for. And now I'm going to have time to at least try some of this stuff, and if it fails, if I do it for 6 months and it never pans into anything, at least I tried it,
Right.
Exactly.
And I always look for that type of stuff going on around me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, some people get overwhelmed by all the stuff, the house, the cars, the bills, everything, and that's what can drive you into having bad health. Like, that's what a disease is. A disease isn't a sickness. It is you are not at ease, and your mind isn't right. And when your mind isn't right, your body isn't right. But I never let that affect me because, like I said, I never really felt unemployed. I felt like I'm free to do what I wanted to do.
Right. It's opportunities, man. That's what it is.
Right. And I mean, I had plenty of opportunities to work at other places, but I wanted to go do some other things and get some other things together. And
I would like to see that those Evil Dead you made.
But but that's what life is all about. You just can't you just gotta take life and just ride it. I mean, I don't want to say it, verbatim, but it's like in risky business. Sometimes you just gotta say what the F. You just have to do that, because if you go through life worrying about the next turn or the next job loss, you will never grow as a person. You just never will. And I think maybe that's another reason why I look so young, because I just don't let a lot of things worry me like that.
Exactly. I mean,
it's the babies that you kill at the altar to suck their soul. I mean, one of those things keeps you young. Because
that baby blood is sweet, brother. It is sweet.
The Mayans had it going on, man.
One thing I wanted to ask you though is, you talk about coming from an art background, and I know myself, the way I often hear like film directors and stuff talk about a movie is never finished. They just take it away from you and they put it on the screen.
Right.
And I feel like whenever I'm painting something or drawing something or whatever, it never feels finished. And do you feel that way, like with figures a lot of times, where it's like it's got to be done, you've got shipments to meet, whatever, it's got to go out there, but you still have that feeling like it's an unfinished masterpiece you still need to work on, you still need to
I used to feel that way, but then I remember actually it was Jesse Falcon. He told me when we were working together at Toy Biz. I mean, he was the one. He said, sometimes you just gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, because not everyone is going to care about what you care about. Not everyone is going to even notice that little extra stitch or whatever that you were hanging everything else up on. Like, sometimes you just gotta let it go and let it take its course. And that, I mean, amongst all the other things that I learned from working with Jesse and just knowing him as a good guy and a person and everything, and like, my brother and everything, but that was one of the best things that anybody ever told me, because you think that you want that's what art is not about. Right. Art is not about perfection. It's the imperfection that makes it.
It's the expression.
I mean, when you see computerized sculpts, they don't do it for you like a human sculpt, because that human sculpt has got that little bit of perfection, and that's what makes us humans, is our imperfections.
Exactly. That's what creates a style. Right. That's what creates a look. And everyone has it. It's just that they know how to nuance those imperfections. Right. Like when you're drawing is really just a bunch of scribbles, but it's the illusion that what you're looking at, it's playing a trick on your brain. You're constantly being tricked that you think that it looks like something, but it's really it's not. But just to get back to that point, you just have to. What I learned was you just have to let it go. And yeah, there's tons of figures that I've worked on that I would love to take back and be able to do, or maybe I didn't get the chance to do it right. But I think that, I always had in my mind that one day I'm going to be able to explain why certain things had happened, like the Big Head Punisher. Like one day I'm going to be able to explain why that happened, or or be able to atone for it, like come up with a Punisher that everyone loves, you know. So
Exactly. I mean, it's all stepping stones. I
So
it
mean,
is
is,
there?
but things always find a way of coming back, you know. I mean, and not to turn this whole thing to this whole philosophical discussion, but you know, things just always comes back to you, and you can always get another chance to be able to correct whatever was wrong, like always.
that's right.
And I
That's
mean, that's like karma. I mean, it just comes back to you. You know, you just gotta it come back to you when you're ready for it.
And since we're talking about obviously, Jesse Falcon, he's one that suggested, just let it go. I'm obviously a huge fan of Jesse Falcon. That what was it? Was it Marvel Girl that you wanted made?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the one that you were like stalking him over? You wanted him to make it, or am I wrong?
It was Marvel Man.
Marvel Man, okay. And yeah, I mean, I listened, no plug intended, but I listened to the Fooshcast, and he, I guess his like little nickname for you was Face or whatever. When you'd get, I mean, you must have really wanted a Marvel Man, and I looked, and I looked for the wrong one. But did they ever make? Is there a Marvel Man Legend or? No, there
No,
still isn't. Okay, because there was a Marvel Legend or a Marvel Girl in that series
right?
3, but all right, so it has not been done
Are you
yet.
talking Marvel Man, the Alan Moore
Yeah.
character?
Yep.
And was that just because of the rights issues, or I mean, what was the deal?
Well, you know when Marvel acquired the rights to Marvel Man, um, right after it happened, Dan Buckley had came up to me and said that we have Marvel Man now. Now, I had this thing with Marvel Man, and some people may know him as Miracle Man,
Right.
and it was just one of the best books I'd ever read. You know, that whole the Alan Moore one, and I was just infatuated with the whole thing. So fast forward to to Marvel getting the license, I was like, on the rights to do it, I was like, oh my god, we have to do it. So in my mind, it was actually going to be a figure for the next Comic Con. Like I had it already planned out how I was going to do it, and but I think some things weren't completely worked out, and so I would just call Jesse every day and ask him about it, and he would just get so frustrated, like, look, we're not doing it. And he couldn't. It was certain things that he couldn't, discuss on it either. So it's just one of those things I always wanted, like that and Rocket, the Rocketeer.
Well,
You
with
know,
that being said, yeah, the Rocketeer, man. When I was a kid, honestly, that was a. But I just wanted to, all three of us. I know we don't all know each other the greatest, but I will say that we all have in common is we love to stir shit up. we all have that in common. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
I just want to
live a
say that.
clean life. I don't hassle anybody over anything. I
But
don't know what you're talking about.
I've heard your stories, Dave. So
well, you know what? You have to, man.
yeah, exactly.
You have to stir things up, because you'll never if you don't shake the trees, you never know what's going to fall on your lap. So you just got to shake the trees, man,
Exactly.
and just do it. Like for instance, like that Galactus, the 19-inch Galactus,
The universe one.
right? That was something that Hasbro really didn't want to do. Like when it was discussed, when it was first discussed, it was like, that is, if we can't get it at a certain price point, why even bother?
Right.
And how are you going to do it? How's it going to be packaged? Everything is like and there was too many logistics involved where some people didn't want to do it. It wasn't worth it. And I was like, this is Galactus. This is the character that, had they have shown Galactus's head or face in the Fantastic Four movie, that whole movie would have completely been different.
Right.
It would have went from one of the worst Marvel movies ever to one of the best. I mean, literally, had they shown Galactus. So that was something that I was just adamant about doing. So I just set out, how it could be done logistically, that we can make this body and make another character from it. There was supposed to be a third character from it actually, and how can we do it and actually like basically have it work and package it, and because it like there was guys there back in the day that wanted to do Shogun,
the giant robots.
right? They wanted to do Shogun size Transformers, and that didn't happen, because of the logistics. But not to say that I had found some magic formula or anything, but I think I just continued to shake the trees, and it wound up happening. And when I showed it, it was like, we have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it had a blend of what Hasbro wanted, and it had a blend of what the fans wanted, and it had a blend of what the kid wanted. So it was almost like it was a giant action figure of a character that we wanted, and had the electronic kind of gameplay play pattern to it, if you will, right. that could be marketed and with the size, and I mean, it was just, if you look at it, that Galactus is what guys wanted out of Legends years before it came out, when Hasbro were doing Legends. That's what
I got him. I got him, and I look at him like y'all made him for Legends. I mean, believe me, it takes every ounce of my passion to not buy a freaking universe. I did collect them for a little bit, and I just saw what is it they got out now? Like the Hulk and the Wolverine 2-pack. Man, dude, I'm telling you, it takes everything I got not to buy it.
Marvel Universe, I had to quit because I was obsessed with that line, and I was going out buying every single one I could, and it was one of those things where, again, it's like every week it seemed like there were 10 new Marvel Universe figures on the pegs.
Right.
And it's all the different variants, and I had guys going to Toys R Us in Sarasota, Florida, and going to Toys R Us in Burbank, California, and it's just like, can you find me anything different? What's a new 2-pack?
Right.
And I was buying the ones where there was a production error and they didn't get the gold paint on their belt buckle, and I was just
I specifically know that that you were doing that because I was watching one of your reviews one time. This is when you had like the mask on.
Yeah.
But then you did the review, right?
Right.
And you had said something that I was like, I got him. And you had said that this is a new, I just want to say it was Spider-Man, different blue, whatever. But, I like the different variations, so I'm going to get it anyway, even though I think it's a sucky figure. So I was like, all right. So now I'm gonna hit him. I said, I remember seeing it clear as day. I'm talking to the screen and say, I got you.
Yep.
So like, you're actually one of the reasons why, so many variants are actually out there, because
oh no, I'm the destruction of my own downfall.
I just knew that, I knew that there was that guy who's the mental card collector, the guy who, even though he might not have liked it, if there was a slight variation, he had to get it, because if you're a completist, you can't ignore it.
Right.
You can't ignore it. So, when I seen your review, I was like, I'm gonna get this dude. I'm gonna get him so he's gonna get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and that totally, like, I remember, crawling around cons. We would go to Wizard World, we'd go to C2E2, we'd go to, whatever, and just, digging through, like, what do you got? And, of course, you go to a convention and it's $20 versus the $8 that you'd buy it for at Target, and you're just like, man, I don't know if I guess I don't have to eat tonight. I'll just, go ahead and give it to me, like doing that. Just, and it, it seriously, it was my crack cocaine there for a while. Like, I was I was freebasing off Marvel Universe, and it got me.
That's what I used to call it whenever I got samples in. I was like, I got the crack. I'm walking around like I was Nino Brown or something. You know what I mean?
And we got, I don't know if it was from you or if it was someone else in Hasbro, but someone sent us right before the line launched. They sent us 2 Bullseye.
Yep. We sent different characters to everyone, all the guys, all like the Foosh, Pop Coach, you guys, actually all the different sites. We sent them one figure, a different one, you know, and that was, again, that was something that at the time was never done at Hasbro. You know, that just wasn't done.
Well done, right?
Well, and I mean, seriously, from that point on, I was like, crap, now I got to buy these, you know? I mean, it's one of those, like, on the one hand, you're like, oh, these are so awesome. But then on the other hand, it's like, I guess I'm not buying a new pair of shoes for 6 months.
Right.
Well, I see you all the time. It seems to me like on your spare time, like a line that you have no financial relation to whatsoever, the Batman. I see every now and then you scribble up Batman, and that like gives the question in my mind, like what inspired you to get into comics and into drawing?
Well, I my mom had my mom was a big Thor fan.
Okay.
And Thor's my favorite character, but like,
Yep.
she had a dog named Odin, and he was a Saint Bernard, and I used to like I had these big giant like orthopedic shoes, and he taught me how to walk. I used to walk all over him, but I used to hold on to him, and he would walk around like the living room, and I would hold on to him, and that's how I learned how to walk. And but she had like tons of comics, and I, you know, would look at them when I couldn't read and just look at all the pictures, and I just loved it. So then I started reading them, and then my mom, she had a boyfriend named Ricky White, and he's dead now. But you know, I was like about 6 years old when he came into our life, and you know, as a kid, there's very few things that you know you can do to win us over, and one of them is drawing, and he could draw, and he had drew me Quicksilver and Flash running towards each other.
Magneto
And he had got it was right around when school started. So what he did was he got my notebook, and he had basically did a whole wrap around the book, and that's what it was. It was like on the front of it was Quicksilver and Flash running towards each other, and then in the back it was like, you know, they were just fighting on like all over the place. And I mean, I had
It was a good battle, actually.
I mean, I loved it. I mean, I loved it. And he was in the comic books, and that was just it. So I always tried to, you know, to draw, and you know, I really didn't take it seriously. I was like trying to draw a little muscle man, but you know, back in the day, you know, when I was growing up, and especially like when you grow up in like in the hood or whatever, if you tell kids that you have an ability that they don't have, they will challenge you on it. And if you aren't who you say you are, you might get beat up.
Right.
So when I was growing up and I said I could draw, it was like, you better draw. Like, let me see, draw me this and draw me that. And I would just do it. And I started getting better. And like, that's how I just started getting into it. And I used to, you know, obviously you want to get better. So you start tracing, then you want to draw without tracing, and you're looking at it. And then you want to start doing your own thing and create your own guy. And you just keep doing it day after day after day. And you start getting better. But that's kind of like how I started, you know, just wanting to show people that I had this ability.
Competition.
The whole competition thing. And it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't an egotistical thing, but it was like, you know, I just want to, I just want to do it. And
Exactly.
And you know, it was that's how it came about.
I mean, that's how I am about dancing. You know, I mean, just gotta dance.
Right.
Honestly, though, it's ironic. I know you know who freaking another no plug intended. Boog Nice. I was talking to him today, honestly, and we were talking back and forth about where we lived back when we were kids, and I grew up in the old West End of Toledo, and that's where my music came from. Same exact story as what you're talking.
Right.
I've always been open with like my artistic values, what I do, yada yada yada. I make a song, well, somebody else is making music, or somebody else is doing this, you know. And it was always just like a competition, a one up. And if you weren't winning, people knew. People let you know that you were on top of your game. And that's how it was for me when I was.
Yeah. Was there ever a time, and just to kind of prod you for another story, but when you were at Hasbro and something happened and people, they just took it the wrong way, where they would blame you for some production error, or I know a lot of times the company will decide that things have to take a different direction and you have to go one way or another, and you're dealing with someone's favorite toy, you're dealing with someone's favorite line, and then of course you go out to the conventions. Like, you're one of those guys who will go to San Diego or Toy Fair or wherever, and you'll stand out there with your name tag and shake people's hands and be in 9,000 stupid YouTube videos, and and come on these dumbass podcasts like ours, and all that kind of stuff. Like, does it ever just kind of like overwhelm, where you just want to just hit somebody in the face and just say, "Get over it, it's a toy"?
No, not really, because on one hand, I mean, I get it, because I'm a fan too, so I want to know. But also, like, some guys, it means a lot to someone, to be able to express, how they feel about a character or a toy, or get it off their chest. Like, I remember the first time I met Shartimus Prime. Do you guys know who Shartimus Prime is?
I do.
Well, he was pissed. I mean, and he was just going off, but I understood why he was mad. And see, the thing is, it was also unique for me because I worked at Toy Biz and then I came over to Hasbro. So I understood both sides of the fence, and I understood why guys were upset, why they weren't getting what they were used to. But I also understood, from being at Hasbro, I understood why they weren't getting what they wanted. And I felt like maybe I need to try to explain it as best as I can. So when I first met Shartimus Prime, I mean, he was very, very upset. And then and I was trying to explain it to him, different, reasons, that came into play as to why, certain things are the way they were. And he was just like, "Look, man, it just sucks. It sucks." So I was like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't like it, because at the end of the day, you are the consumer and you have the right to voice your opinion. And I get it. I get it. The only thing that I don't like is when someone goes on the board and says things about me that are not true, because I think that I think I'm a pretty accessible kind of person, and I'll answer your questions, and if you,
when you talk about motivations and the reasons that certain decisions have been made.
Because I understand why people may be angry, or they may want a certain a particular answer, and if I can answer it, then I will. Some things I can't, because I don't want to let either the cat out the bag or anything like that. But if I can answer it, I will try my best to answer in a way that you can understand. And but when someone says things about me, about my character, of like, there was this one instance on the board where this guy was like, everyone's talking about this Dave Vonner guy. Well, I think he's a big douchebag. Matter of fact, I know he's a douchebag, and I can't stand him. So, and I felt like offended by that, because, the one thing, despite, if I wanted to speak to a guy, or if I didn't want to speak to someone or whatever, I never felt I came off like that. So I actually sent them a message, and I said, "Look, if you really have, if you feel that adamant about me, that you have to voice this and write this for everyone to see, then you know what? I think that you need to talk to me as a man." And I sent them my phone number, and I told him to call me, and he did. The guy did, and I explained some things to him, and before he even started, he said, "Hey man, I apologize. I just let my anger get away from me." And I was like, "Well, you kind of got angry a lot, and you were angry often." But we started to talk and discuss things, and then it went on to, like, just toys and comics and everything else. And then he realized that we had more in common than we didn't. And then he went back and ate crow and said that, "Hey, I talked to Dave Vonner and he's a real nice guy." And it wasn't about me and my ego, but I just felt like, if you're going to say something about me, if you don't like what I'm working on, then that's fine. And if you feel offended that I didn't, do your character justice or whatever, then I get it. Because I felt the same way. If I picked up a comic book and And I hated Todd McFarlane when he worked on the Hulk. I was like, why is he doing the Hulk like that? He's ruining it. But then when he got on Spider-Man, I was like, all right, I kind of I like his Spider-Man, but I don't like everything else. And then just like everyone else, you kind of think like Todd McFarlane's a douchebag and all this other stuff. But then it's like you step back and like, I don't know that guy. You know what I mean? And he's doing the best that he can do. And I'm not in his shoes. And outside of just his work and what he's doing, he has a family too that he has to look out for. So who am I to judge him or judge his character?
Right.
So
we know nobody's perfect. We're all humans.
Right. So I just talked to the guy, and now he's a cool dude, and he's I give him props, he give me props, but it was one of those things where we just had to discuss. Now I can't do that with everybody, and trust me, it's happened more than once, but I get it. I understand why, particularly, comic book or toy or action figure guys get upset. I understand it. As long as you don't spit in my face, do anything real derogatory, then I'm cool. We can have a debate all day long. I'll talk to you all night long.
Well, we'll be more than happy to publish your home personal phone number for anybody who wants to get a hold of you. I mean, we're not above that at all.
But it's just one of those things where I'm that guy too. I'm not just someone that's looking out to take your money. I'm a fan too. I'm a collector too, and I get it. So, but I would never do anything like to tell somebody, get out of my face. I don't feel like talking anymore because, you show your support through, buying a product that I'm making, and in turn that it helps me out. So. Yeah, I would never do it.
So, yeah, I mean, all of that sounds nice, but who's the one person you want to punch in the face? I mean, just throw out one name. Just one person you want to punch in the face.
Oh, man, the one person I want to punch in the face. I remember the one person I did want to punch in the face. He was on, the Foosh. His name was Phineas Curmudgeon. But then he really made a lot of good points. And then I was like, man, this guy, I get where he's coming from. And then I liked him. And I actually told somebody from the Foosh to tell him that I said hello. So I've never met him. I never had a conversation with him, never sent him an email or anything like that. He never emailed me. But Phineas Curmudgeon, if you're listening, I love you, bro.
No hate. No hate. Well, you know what? With that all being said, you are a fan. And I guess the last 6 months, last year, I don't know. What was the last figure you purchased?
For me or for my son?
For you.
Well, I mean, let's face it. A lot of times
just for
when
you.
we buy toys for your kids, you're buying it for you. You're just letting them play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, for my son, I actually bought him a whole bunch of Walking Dead figures. So, so that's what I had got for him.
So Todd McFarlane does like you.
Yeah, right. For me, the last figure that I got. What was the last figure I got? I think I had got I ordered what did I get?
I know you like I know you like your sideshow every now and then.
Yeah, I like that stuff, but that's not what
Chinese.
that's not. I didn't get anything. I didn't get any Japanese stuff. And it's right on the tip of my tongue. I'm in my office. I don't have anything like.
I'll tell you what I just want.
My office, my wife's office. So basically, I see all her stuff. So
exactly. I honestly have 3 Marvel Legends figures of me for my inspiration, and one of them, I'm gonna tell you, I did not like it when I first saw it. It was that Bucky cap. But when I got that guy open, I appreciated. Like as soon as I opened Bucky cap, I understood what Marvel Legends was trying to do, and they're trying to make new Bucks. I mean,
right.
I just saw it, and that's kind of when it clicked in my head. Like, all right, I get what you guys are doing. I'm down. Let's do this. But actually, the last one I just bought, I tried that X-Force 3-pack, that SDCC 3-pack. I had that motherfucker in my cart at Hasbro Toy Shop, and I went to pay, and it said sold out.
Oh wow,
man, dude! But I want it on eBay for about $20 more than you should pay. So it's en route. That was the last figure I bought.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
See, it's weird because I get like a lot of stuff. Like sometimes people will send me stuff,
Right.
and I'll buy some stuff. But like, or my son, man, he's a little get over. I mean, he just raised all my stuff. I mean, and see, and it's also different because see, with him, I will bring him stuff every day, and he played with things that I think will make guys' heads explode. And actually, well, I can tell you what he just got.
All right.
He opened up another um the Astral variant Doctor Strange and the paperback had Spider-Man that he's been begging for the longest time.
Is that even on the peg? The Bagman?
Well, when he got it, no, it wasn't.
Nice.
And he opened up another New York Comic Con Red and Green Hulk.
It's like half red, half green.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he has a Star Wars blaster that he has, but the Star Wars blaster that he has is one of the few that's actually black. It's a Stormtrooper blaster and it's black, and you can't even buy them. They don't even make them like that anymore, and it looks like a real gun. And so he has that, and I'm like, I mean, this was like my stuff, So he got it, and I actually now that I can remember, the last toy that I did get was because I love Speed Racer, and whenever I can find a Speed Racer car, I'll pick it up. Like whether it's like a little Hot Wheels size car or whatever on up, I'll get it. So I was actually in this store, in what CVS, and they got all these like die-cast cars, and one of them was actually a Mach 5, and my youngest son, my baby, just broke one, but he plays with it every day. So I went and I seen that and I got that. So if it's a DVD or anything with Speed Racer, I'll pick it up. Classic Speed Racer, not that new stuff though.
Well, you're not a fan of the movie? What?
No, I love the movie. It actually is funny, man. That my kids watch that movie almost every day. And we have I actually have a minivan. When you have more than 2 kids, you got to get a minivan.
Yeah, we got the minivan this year.
But we have a Chrysler Town and Country with the DVD player.
That's
in
what we've got.
Yeah, so Speed Racer gets all kind of burned in it. Matter of fact, I have to get a new DVD because it's completely ruined. I mean, it is messed up. But I love the movie, and I love the Wachowski brothers, and I think they did a really, really good job with it. And everybody else hates it, but my son, hands down, that's one of his favorite movies. But he also likes Spider-Man 1, and I can't watch that. But
Heard that. Well, you know what, man? I don't want to keep you. I know you got a flight. You got to catch in the morning.
Yep.
And we're way past what I thought we would get at.
Well, make sure you tell everyone at Jazzwares that you know a couple of guys who would love to review any toys they want to send, any production samples.
I've already told him that. Yeah.
Cool. But also, I forgot, man. I didn't answer your question about Batman.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
The reason why I love drawing Batman, well, one, because he just looks cool, but Batman to me is like the most Marvel DC character. You know what I mean? Like he's completely DC should not have that character. He should be in Marvel. But he's just cool. But I really like him. It's like some of that, like that classic Batman art is just I just love it. And also like I love the like the Dark Knight Returns kind of look up, like that real grizzled look with that really thick jaw and all that stuff. Like, I mean that's just cool. So
yeah, well, he's another one of those characters where any artist can sit down and draw him, and you say, "Oh, that's Batman," and no two ever look alike.
Right? Yeah. I mean, from the color, I mean, he's evolved so much, and like with Jim Lee, I remember when that Hush series came out,
right.
Man, we were just in awe. I mean, it was so good to see Jim Lee. Like, it looked like he was having fun again,
Right.
And I remember like it was me and Damon Nee, Toy Biz and Mike Mucci and Jesse. I mean, we were run down to Midtown and get that Hush series, and it was just like I mean, that was like when that came out, it kind of put everything on notice. Like, I mean, it was really really good.
This is happening.
Did you get an echo?
No. I was saying that's the feeling I got was like this is actually happening.
Oh yeah.
With Jim Lee on board.
Yeah, that one page when he drew all the Batmobiles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right, yeah.
You know that was just like, man, and you know and it also had Scott Williams doing the inking and stuff, and it's like, you know, I love whenever there's that perfect marriage between a penciler and an inker. You know, like John Byrne and Terry Austin. You know, and it's just like it's a match made in heaven. And then you had Jim Lee and Scott Williams, and it was just like, it was.
And it's also because they were Marvel guys, and now suddenly they're working on a DC book.
True.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those like dream team type things where it's like, you know, they were the Marvel guys that went to Image, so they were never going back to a big company again. It was never going to happen, and then suddenly, boom, he's working for DC and he's doing one of their main characters.
Right.
And they reboot the whole everything.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of revitalized Batman again. You know, I mean,
he sure is darker, man. I like it.
Yeah,
I like what they're doing over at DC, honestly. And
I love DC's cartoons, man. Like their animation.
Oh yeah, the movies that they keep putting out.
I mean that Superman versus Shazam.
Yeah,
that comes out. Man, like that was just beautiful. Like with that Black Adam, like that is the Black Adam that. I mean, that's what always been in my mind. It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm sorry. My son just woke up, said he can't go. You want to say hello since you're up? You don't want to say hello?
What's up, man? Yeah, for me, actually, I'm probably a generation behind you. I'm 30, but for me, that '89 Batman was probably really what set it off. I went to the movie theater, I saw that, and then like the Uncanny X-Men was on Fox or whatever, and then they had like the trading, like the Marvel trading cards.
Right. Yeah.
The masterpiece and all that stuff. That right there, that's what made me who I am today. The whole Masters of the Universe. I liked it, but like I don't know if it was my age or whatever. But whenever I watched Masters of the Universe, I could not figure out what was going on. Like I'd always think, all right, he's pulling out a sword, and then he's in front of Grayskull. And then he's back right where he was. And, like, I just could not... I was like, that's not happening. That's not how it's going to happen.
You know, the one thing I could never figure out about He-Man was that no one could tell that Prince Adam was He-Man. The only thing that's different, he just gets a darker tan. Like, that's it.
Well, but, I mean, that's like Superman,
and he gets undressed.
Clark Kent, you know? I mean, it's like Superman doesn't wear glasses and Clark Kent does. So, apparently, they must be two different people.
And this is just to set it straight. I mean, I collect Master of the Universe classics. I do like them. But as a child, with my freaking brain, it just didn't click.
Right.
Marvel and superheroes and everything, that clicked.
All right. Well, anyway, since it is getting late here, we got to put your son back to bed before the zombies hit. So we probably should wrap things up, though. So anyway, I mean, thanks again for doing the show. I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you here today and learning, you know, a bunch of this stuff about everything that goes on and all the stuff that you've been through and the great opportunities you have ahead. I mean, it's you know, I think this has been a tremendous show, and so, you know, just thanks a lot for coming on here with us.
Cool, man. I mean, thank you both. You know, and again, you know, I thank you for the support and you know, it's nothing but thanks and you know, I'll try to. I'm going to try my best to do you guys proud and come up with some cool stuff, and it should be fun. It's going to be a lot of cool things coming from Jazzwares and I'm really excited, and it's going to be fun.
And send us the scoops.
One tip I want to give to the fans out there is that everything does not happen in one wave, and if people just step back, let shit happen. 5 waves down, you'll see what's going on. So just let it happen.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes
time, man. Just chill out.
But the funny thing about Jazzwares is that they can pop stuff out pretty fast. So yeah, but really just step back and let it happen, and,
exactly.
and you know we'll we'll get it on track. It'll be really cool. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun experience for all of us.
All right, Dave. You know what? You safe journeys on your flight tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Be good, man. Kill it. Do what you do. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Have
All
fun.
right, man.
We'll talk to you later.
So long.
Adios, man.
Bye.